With Game 7 looming, I went back and looked at the 1942 Maple Leafs roster. They had guys named Bingo and Bucko. It was 82 years ago. If this happens for the Edmonton Oilers, what do you say?
First of all, I think Bucko got benched in that series, as a matter of fact. This, to me, is you think about 1942, how different the world was there. It was a six-team league. It was basically all Canadian. There was no social media. It was just a really different time. To me, I think you could make a real argument. This is the biggest game in NHL history.
Sure.
I wouldn't say international hockey history because I think there's some games on the world stage that have been bigger. But to me, this is the biggest game in NHL history. And, the other thing, too, you really wonder about is, just what's at stake for both these teams. Florida, we all know if you don't win after being up 3-0, how crushing that is. But I even think for Edmonton, if you don't win after coming back from 3-0, you're like, what did we even do this for? So there is so much on the line. And the other thing I really do believe, Tony, is that you watch these players. There's so much on the line for them personally.
Without a doubt.
You come this far. There's going to be no passengers in this one. No passengers at all.
Legends and legacies are made. Now, widening the lens, focusing in on the rest of the NHL.
Yep.
The Markstrom move set a lot of people in motion in terms of, the goalie market. How do you see it?
I think that it's put a lot of focus on Linus Ullmark. There's no question about that. Boston Auto have been working on something. There's the challenge there of Ullmark's 14-team no trade, but there's also the challenge of an extension. Boston is hoping for a higher price than New Jersey paid for Markstrom, and the teams, including Ottawa, that are looking at this, they're kind of like, we're not interested in doing this, paying that price if it doesn't come with an extension. So now the challenge becomes, can you find an extension that both Ullmark and a team like the Senators are happy with? Steve Yzerman made an interesting comment the other day. He said he's in the goalie market, but he doesn't want someone who's only going to be there a short time. There's John Gibson from Anaheim, but I've also heard the Ducks don't want to retain money on Gibson, which makes any trade of him to be tougher. And there's also the teams that are looking for the 1Bs or the backups. The Stoller's here from Florida is a good one. Laurent Brossoit, Toronto's been linked to him. I think that's it. But the interesting thing is, Tony, is I think that for the top guys, like the Ullmarks of the world, now because New Jersey's got their guy, there's less of a market for some of the stuff. LA got their guy. There's less of a market. So how much does the squeeze affect both the asks and the trade partners?
On the topic of interest, the Carolina Hurricanes in the eye of the storm. Lots of discussion. What are you hearing?
I think they've talked to a lot of teams about Necas. Some people were hoping it would be done sooner. The draft to me is the deadline. Deadline spur action. So I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if it came around this week. I think that they've got a Slavin extension that's done that they'll probably announce on July the 1st. I think that's going to be around 8 times 6.5.
He's earned it.
I think, yes, he has. I think they don't have a lot of defensemen signed, so I think they're kicking tires around there. Like, to me, the Necas one is sort of the one that everything else flows from. What do they get in return? I think Seattle's a team they've talked to quite a bit. I think Boston is a team they've talked to. I think Winnipeg's a team they've talked to. I mean, they've probably talked to everyone, but those are some of the teams I have no doubt there's more. I have no doubt everybody has checked in on him. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this week.
Along those lines, in terms of there being more, all 32 fan bases know that the draft is looming, and then free agency. How active do you expect the business to be?
I think this is going to be a crazy week. We saw it in the day off. While we were traveling the other day, the amount of trades that got done, because the Stanley Cup Final has pushed so much up against the draft, I think this week's going to be bananas. I really do. It's going to keep me busy, and it's going to mean I have to have chargers and spare batteries around me. But look, it's like Game 7, day off, Board of Governors, awards, draft, day off, free agency. It's going to be a zoo.
Bingo and Bucko aren't here, but Elliot and Tony are having a blast.